In the previous week before, we saw about a verse that goes like this: Indriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavasthitau tayornavashamagachet tau hyasya paripantinau, where Krishna warned that there are two villains in everyone's life, and be warned that they will trap you. And Arjuna asked, what were those two villains? He mentioned that Raga Dveshau, Ragam and Dvesham, those are the two enemies. The opposites in life is because of these two enemies. What are opposites? Opposites are I like, I do not like. I want to do this, I do not want to do this. Both are harmful. I like it, I do not like it. Both are harmful. Oh, this is too hot, or this is too cold. We won't be able to bear cold or hot. That is too extreme for us. Pleasure, pain, these are the opposites, right? See, we are caught between these two opposites in life most of the times, and that is because of this ragam and dvesham. Dvesham is dislike, or our mindset where we start to hate few things. Ragam is like we anxiously look forward to do some things. So in this verse, Krishna mentioned that if you are able to take charge of these two villains inside you, observe that these two are the ones that are deciding pretty much your life. Instead, if you moderate your approach towards everything, then you can see happiness and peace. The reason that we are not able to see happiness and peace is because of we are driven by either like or dislike. We're saying, I will not do this, not because we analyzed it. Okay, I'm not going to do this because it is not going to do good to others. I'm not going to do this because this is going to be not productive or useful for my growth or for others' growth. That is doing an analysis and deciding. If we are doing that, then it is very well, we can do it. But instead, if we go with emotions and we decide like I don't want to do it because I don't like it, or I'm not good doing that, then that is not the right way to do. Likewise, I want to do it. Why? Because that will result in good for others, good for me. That will enhance my level, my understanding, my behavior will improve. Then that is the reason I want to do this. Is different than I want to do it because I like to do it. That is a dangerous trap, is how he had mentioned in the previous verse. Now, today's verses are going to be real eye openers. He's going to close this third chapter with a lot of verses that provides deeper insights into human behaviors, human existence, and how we can improve without getting trapped into the millions and millions of minds that we are stepping on every day, and we feel like we cannot escape out of it. How to identify such traps and how to get out of those traps. He is going to give us a systematic approach, a plan, and he is going to point us who are all the enemies who we can identify within our life. They are not outside, they are not others. They are right within ourselves. So let's see what those are and what verses that he's going to uh, say to Arjuna. Let me share my screen so that we start with verse number 36. Okay. Arjuna uvacha अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादीव नियोजितः. This is a very common thing that we used to ask ourselves and also others. What is it that is making people do wrong things? We used to wonder, right? What has gotten into him or what has gotten into her? Why is she acting so crazily? Even though she knows very well that, or he knows very well that this is not correct, still, in spite of that, they are doing it. How crazy they can be. We used to ask such questions. Now, that is the precise question that Arjuna now is asking to Krishna. What is making atha kena prayuktoyam? What impels, what makes, what drives people to do papam? Papam charati purushaha. Purushaha means people. Papam is, we all know, sins. What makes people do sins? Even in spite of their knowledge. Anichan abhivarshneya. Anichan. Icha is desire. Anicca is I didn't even will. I don't even know how I am doing it. Even without my will or desire, people are doing there without their knowledge or interest. They are just doing their mistake without even realizing it. Varshneya. Varshneya is addressing Krishna as Varshneya. Baladhiva niyojitah, as if by force they are doing it. What is the reason behind it, Krishna? That is the question that Arjuna is raising here. Now, we all know that most of the times we do also involve in many things where we speak few words and then repent about it. I should not have spoken those words to him or her. We do some actions and then we realize that I should not have done it that way. Now, if you reflect back upon it, many situations in life, right? Words just flow out of our mouth when you are in an extreme, passionate situation where we are totally mad about what is happening around us. We do not have the control of our tongue. Words will just flow out of our mouth. Just say a few things and then we realize, slow down to think that, oh, I should not have used such words. And the beauty is, after a day or two, we might realize our mistake, but we will never go back and ask for, realize and then go to that person whom we hurt, asking for forgiveness, because our ego will stop us from doing it. Like, no, I don't want to do it. That is not just us. That is with every one of us in this world. That this goes on and on. No one is exception to this rule. That is what this shloka tries to say. Everyone, Arjuna is asking, that everyone in this world seem to be driven by a force which they themselves are not aware of it. The control of that force within us seems to be not within ourselves. We feel that as if we are forceful, we are using those words and we are hurting others. But then looks like even though we don't desire to hurt others, we end up hurting. Why is it that? What is making us do incorrect, inappropriate actions like that? is what is now Arjuna is raising with the question that he's raising with Krishna. That is a thing that we should always ask ourselves. Is it what I intend to do? This happened. I know this has happened. I didn't intend to do, but how did this all happen all of a sudden? Most of the times we won't engage ourselves in such kind of analysis, if you ask me. It is given that we can do mistakes in the extreme state of emotions. That is perfectly okay. But then once the emotions go down and we become normal, let's say, then you know what will happen? Guilt will occupy our mind. You'll start feeling like, no, I should not have done that. I did a wrong thing. I just hurt him. I just hurt him. We will start beating ourselves. See, either we are in that mode where we are hurting others, or we are in this mode, we are hurting ourselves. So neither is correct. Just because we are going on beating ourselves down, we are not doing any good to anyone. Right? So that is also not correct. This is also not good. Then what is the right thing to do? The right thing to do in those moments is to ask ourselves, what happened within me? Looks like some kind of this mixer grinder is switched on, then the blades will just crush anything inside. So looks like at that moment a mixer grinder is switched on inside me and I just blasted off few words. But now it looks like it has been switched off. So what is it that made the difference? If we ask the question, then we will try to get answers to it from ourselves. Right? If we just start blaming ourselves, then there is no answer to it, because we will flip-flop, we will move back and forth between these two states. There is no answer to that. We should start asking ourselves and then thinking about it, like what made the difference. I'm a normal person, I know it. I thought I know myself very well. Everyone, when you ask, do you know yourself, we all will say that yes, I know myself. But then if we had known ourselves much better, we would have known that what happened to us in that extreme moment. And then now what is happening to us? We are realizing it. If either I should say that what I did was correct, he or she deserves it, such kind of blasting of words, if I am sure about myself. But now I am realizing I feel bad about it. That means that who did that? Who blasted off that person? And who is this person now who is realizing about whatever that had happened in the past? So there are two personalities within myself. So that means that I do not understand myself better, right? That is how the analysis should go. So that means that there are more than one person who is sitting inside me. I'm not understanding when that person is active, why that person becomes active. Why can't I keep that person down? And if I'm having multiple person within myself, who am I? If that person is also there inside me, where is he now? Where is she now? Right? Such kind of the questions is called inner analysis. Then we are trying to know ourselves much better. And by ruling out those people, oh, these are all negative thoughts or negative dimensions of me showing up as my personality. All right, so then we will start excluding those personalities within ourselves. These multiple personalities get hidden within ourselves. At every moment they spike up, and then one person will, if you look at it, one person will always be there who will, inside everyone, that person will be a crybaby. If something happens, we will sit in that crybaby, not necessarily crying with the tears down the cheeks. No, not necessarily that. If we just sit about and then think about what had happened in the past and then guilt trip ourselves, that is also a crybaby. The guilt tripper is also there inside. That person will just wake up every once in a while and say that what you have done is not correct. Do you think that do you know everything about it? Yeah, whatever that he has done, it is correct. Whatever that you have done, it's not correct. Chatting. That voice will go on inside, blaming ourselves. That person is also inside us. And then there is one more person, that will ego booster. That person will wake up and then he will boost the ego. No, don't say about all those things. I'm always right. And I'm so good that I behaved very well. That person is a very bad. Likewise, we have hundreds of personalities within ourselves. None of those personalities is right, if you ask me. That is why meditation is essential. Those personalities should not. What are we doing, if you ask me? We are just listening to those voices, inner voices. And then whoever who is stronger at that moment, they will take our personality. For example, if a ego booster is the strongest, the guilt tripper is trying to guilt trip, saying that no, what you have done is not correct, that person is right. Ego booster will argue against. He will say that no, you are such a nice person. All along you never said even one word. Just at this time you cannot bear it. That is why you just broke, and then you spoke everything against him or her, whatever that is. That person is stronger. He picked us up. Then he or she will dominate our personality, and we will start acting as if like we are right and whatever that person is. But that person is not real inside us. He or she will go down after few hours. Then we will again go back and then thinking, what has happened to me? Why did I behave like that? Right? So this is how our life has been going, between one personality to other personality to other personality. We are losing ourselves to each of these personality who is sitting inside ourselves, controlling us. Right? So smart people are the ones who are not only aware of such thoughts within ourselves, they know how to take charge of our own true nature and quieten the voices. That is most important. That is when we can truly live our life to the fullest. If we start listening to each of these personalities, then there is no life. It is we are just existing. We are just living day by day, by hopping between one to the other, living their life, not our life. And these are all impermanent. We don't even know who is there. If you ask, anyone will say that I don't have any person inside me. What are you? That is so crazy idea. That's what anyone will say. But we all know that such voices will just start showing up their true identities when situation demands. Until then, they all are seated inside us without opening their mouth. They will just wait for the right time, then they will jump and dance. So that is why meditation is very important, where we take charge of ourselves. Our true nature becomes evident to us. Then we won't lose ourselves in this melee, right? So that is what he is mentioning here, where Arjuna is trying to ask here, what is it that? Now Krishna's answer is eye-opening. Let's see what he says about that. Who is responsible for it? Right? That multiple personalities or all those things that is happening, that is beyond my control. Who is responsible for it is what in the next 37th verse Krishna speaks. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Kamayesha Krodayesha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. Now Krishna precisely hits the bullseye by answering who is responsible. Kamayesha Krodhayesha. Kama is lust or desire. Krodha is anger or hatred. And they are born out of Rajoguna samudbhavaha. They are born out of Rajoguna inside every one of us. Mahasano Mahapapma. That means they are these two, the kama, lust, and the anger, born out of Rajoguna, are the ones that are devouring you, the person. That are the most, these two are the most sinful. Mahapapma. Vidhyeyam Vidyenam Iha Vairinam. These two identify Arjuna. Identify these two as your biggest enemy. They are lust and anger. Now, where do this uh, spring from within ourselves? He just mentioned that lust and anger are there inside every one of us. Lust is lust has got many meaning, from normal desire all the way up to anything that you can attach for lust, right? Everything included. Krodha, which is anger. Anger is frustration, dip, um, detesting, dislike, hatred. Everything is part of anger. So these, two things, which is lust identified by desire or likeness towards thing, and anger identified by hatred. So similar words in the previous verse, if you had identified that, he mentioned in terms of ragadvesham, right? The ragam is the likes and dvesham is hatred. Now even ragadvesham is highly words that may be not understood very well. So now he's simplifying those words and saying that desire or lust is one of the reasons. Second reason is hatred. So now we all have to think about what are all the things that we have desire for, and what is desire in the first place, right? What do you mean by desire? A person is I'm just having a life, and I have two children. I'm living with my husband or my wife, and I want to live a happy life. What is the desire in this? Is it a desire to be living happily, where I go to work and I earn, and I want to give my children food, and I wanted best education for my children, and of course I wanted some money for making sure that my future is all well and good? Is this a desire? And also, of course, since I'm part of the stage in which I am living, I wanted to have a little bit of things, something like I wanted to make myself active, involve myself in social life, participate, volunteer, do things, engage myself in some activities, some entertainment, meeting the friends, relatives, going around, vacationing. How do I know that what is desire in this, and how do I rule that out, right? And how do I know that when I'm falling into that trap or line, where do we draw the line? So he has mentioned clearly in the previous verses that one has to do his duty. Karma yoga is all about performing the duty. It is not running away. He was very clear in that one, right? So just because desire or lust is the enemy, he didn't say that just live your life, do not live it and walk away, go to Himalayas. He didn't say that. He in fact insisted that never do it. It's not for all. Engage yourself in life, actively engage, do your work, do whatever you are supposed to do, whatever you are expected to do, perform it very well, impressively. Do not even let anything loose. Do everything 100%. But here he is also mentioning that then when you are doing it, when you are involving in life and doing everything, desire becomes natural. because as we are involved in this life, for example, I wanted to put on more weight if you are younger, or I wanted to reduce my weight if you are a little bit middle-aged, older, right? So those are the things that we will have. Is that part of a desire or it is not part of a desire? So how do we decide things, right? That is one thing that we need to actually think about. What does he mean by it, desire here? And then krodha, what is anger or what is hatred? There are few things I don't want to do, I don't like to do because of my limitations, because that's how I have been. Is that part of hatred? Is that part of anger that I should not be? Then how? So where do we draw that line is the question here, right? How can we decide that what needs to be done, what should not be done? And of course this varies from person to person based on what phase of life one is in and what duty one is doing, and all those things, right? So is there any general rule that we can arrive at where we say that okay, this is what desires mean, and label it saying that this is what desire mean and this is what hatred means? Okay, is what we need to understand more and then identify. If that is there, then that becomes our guide when we are living our life. We know that when you encounter such situations, we can identify, oh okay, I'm about to fall into this trap, I should not be falling into this desire. So by desire, what does he mean here? He also has given a clue where he says desire and um, uh, anger born out of rajoguna. What is this rajoguna? We know that we all of us, this body is made up of prakriti. Prakriti is 5 elements of nature: earth, fire, water, air, and space. This body of every one of us is made out of these 5 materials. No one can escape it, right? And these 5 materials in by nature have 3 gunas: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. The 3 gunas are inescapable when anything is made out of these 5 elements. And so it is mixed, it is part and parcel. The 3 gunas are part and parcel of this material that we are sitting on, which is this body. And so rajoguna out of that means that action, energy, aggression, fire, right? The anger, the greed, the ambitions, the lust, everything is born out of that rajoguna. But rajoguna is not bad again. Rajoguna is not bad because everyone needs rajoguna, everyone needs energy and action in their life. But how do we channelize that energy is most important. Fire in itself is not bad. Fire can be used for cooking meals for 100 people, 1000 people, or for 10,000 people. But fire can also be used to destroy. If a militant is using that fire for illegal reasons, for unlawful reasons, then of course it can create destruction. So fire in itself doesn't know anything about right or wrong. Who is using it? That will determine whether it is right or wrong. That fire is rajoguna, that is inside us. Who will use it? We are using it. How we use it will determine whether it is right or wrong. That rajoguna gives us a lot of energy. How can we use that energy? We can indulge in enjoying the pleasures of life. That is one way. And I have a lot of energy and money and youth. I'll go to Las Vegas and enjoy everything that a human can enjoy. That is one way of spending or using up that energy. Or I can decide to spend that energy much more usefully. I have this much of energy. Let me be useful to 1000 people, 100 people, 10 people. Let them have a smile, today, because I have the energy to help them. Right? Let me speak to them, at least whoever that may be. They were in trouble. Let me give a call and ask them how they are doing. If they needed any help, I can use that energy for that also. So that is what determined by how I am using my energy. Right? So this desire is born out of that Rajogun. That's what he says, right? Rajogun is responsible for desire and anger. I can use the desire. I can redefine my desire. If anything that I desire, which will help me enjoy and make my indriyas, which is my eyes, ears, tongue, and my body pleasurable, let's say, then that is what he refers to here as enemies. The moment I desire to fulfill the desires of my body, right, that is going to be harmful to that person. It is a trap. The moment I desire that this world should be a better place for others, for everyone has got the right to be happy in this world, and I have been given this body, this energy to make a small bit of change in this world. That is a good desire. No one says that that desire should not be there. And while I cannot give 100% to this world, I also can enjoy a little bit here and there. Let me just make sure that my children are happy first place, right? So for that I am just earning, and I'm not greedy. Since I have one car, two cars, I'm not greedy about having 4 cars, 8 cars. I'm not greedy about having mansions or bungalows or posh living, because all those things are, again, there is nothing like bad, there is nothing like wrong. Everything is okay in this world, but again, they all lead to that different personalities within us. We should be ready to accept that. If we go that route, Krishna or any religion or any spirituality is not stopping. So the beauty about Hindutva or Hinduism and Vedic way of living, spirituality, the beauty is that there is no restriction. Okay, so but be aware of what happens when you do this. Be ready to face the consequences. If you are ready for that, go that route, experiment it. You will see what happens, and then you will be back here. So that is how we are, that is how the knowledge is laid out in front of us. So here he mentions that as long as your desire, that's how we define desire. If we are taking care of our family, our wife, our husband, children, and making sure that they are having a good life, that is not a desire. We are doing our duty there, right? But if I have uh, if I desire that by next year I should get 10 kg of gold stocked up in my locker, that is naturally, we don't need any lectures of Bhagavad Gita. If we just ask ourselves, we all know the answers. What is desire? What is not a desire? Everyone, we know it, but only thing is that we are not implementing it. We have to implement, start looking at it and say that, okay, anyone can say what is desire and what is not desire, right? So that is true with anger also. If something is not working, let us say, right, we are trying to do something at work or at home and something is not working, what am I supposed to do? It's so frustrating, right? That frustration is nature. It's natural to be frustrating, But what do we do about that frustration is the most important thing. Many people, once they hit the frustration point, that is a breaking point. Forget about it. I'm just walking away. Right? That is how most people we think. Anything we do, simple things to bigger things. Bigger thing can be marriage itself, the relationship itself. Simple things can be to fix few things here and there, right? It's not working at home every day, whatever that is happening. I no longer am going to fix that one because it is a big headache, right? So such kind of frustration is quite normal, and that happens to everyone. We cannot escape because this body of ours is made up of Prakriti. But what do we do about that frustration is the most important thing. Are we taking charge of that frustration and making an analysis of it? What can we do about it, right? We should learn from it. When frustration happens because that we didn't understand few things around it, we are not paying attention to what is happening around it. I tried it, whatever means you tell me. I tried it, this, I tried this, I tried that, tried it. Forget it. Now it's not good. People can say that, but still a situation happens to everyone because that person should learn. That is why again and again that bothers. Universe will give such situations to us. God will give difficult situations to us until we learn out of it. It is not to trouble us, but it is universe wanted us to elevate ourselves to the next level. Learn it, because once we learn it, how to handle it, then we go to the next. Doesn't mean that the problems will go away. Problems will be different now. So the more we learn that level, we go next level, problems will be different. So problems will never go away, but problems will be different. So to think that they are all living a happy life, only I am going through troubles, is the most smallest way of thinking. So you should not think that way. Everyone has problems, but at their own levels. But the challenge is not to run away from problems or not to cry with problems, but to learn from it and graduate it. Because at the end of school year, there will be tests naturally. Once we graduate out of it, then we move to the next level, right? Same thing is true with life also. Problems are invading us because of they wanted us to graduate. They wanted us to learn and graduate. Anger, frustration is because of our ignorance. We are not willing to learn. We are stubborn that I don't want to learn from it. I wanted life my way, not the way that universe is giving me. That is the hate of arrogance, right? I wanted life to be with no problems at all. That's never impractical, right? So once we learn it, then we grow from it. That level of frustration is perfectly okay, but frustrations to the level of hating others is not okay. Frustration to lead to learning, not hating others, is the meaning. So let's move on to the next few verses. धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निर्यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्. So how is this desire occupying our mind? What does it do? Because now he said that the desire is the root cause. We know that is what Buddha also used to say. Desire is the root cause of all evil. That's what he propounded, the theory, right? Now, here in this verse, Krishna tries to say that desire was your cause, and that desire is born out of your material nature of this body, which is your Rajoguna, that is just built within this body. Now he goes one more level and then he draws analogy, parallels. He has to now give examples, right? A good teacher is one who gives as many examples to clarify his point. Now he tries to give some examples. How desire is affecting, I do not still understand, right? So now he says that Dhumena vriyate bhagnir. When you have fire, there will be smoke all around, right? And that smoke will almost cover that fire. In that way, similar to that, your desire is clouding your true nature. Your true nature is your Atman, and your true nature, your Atman, is clouded by that desire. That is why we are acting crazily, he's saying. Because a question that Arjuna asked is, remember, why people are acting so crazily, even without their own knowledge. They are not able to restrain themselves. Krishna's answer is desire, and he says now how it is, how desire is affecting. Your true personality is there, Arjuna. Your Atma is all pure. It doesn't know anything about hatred or greed or any such thing. But then that true nature is clouded by desire. Our mind and everything is clouded by lust and desire. Because of that, our judgment goes for a toss. How? Just like how smoke is covering a fire. And then he gives one more example. Yatadarsho malena cha. A mirror is there. Adarsha is mirror. In that mirror, how dust occupies. Right? So that is how our soul is like a mirror. And the dust are desires. Desires just occupy our soul, our being, our whole being. Soul, you don't have to think about, oh, see, soul is so deep, I don't even know what soul is. You can think about it as our mind, our personality is occupied. The whole thing is occupied by desires. Just like how dust falls on the mirror. And then blocking the whole view. If dust falls on a mirror, what happens when you go and stand in front of the mirror? You won't be able to see your true nature. Yes or no? We won't be able to see our true nature, right? It will be distorted image, obscure image of ourselves. Same way, the different personalities are obscuring, tarnishing our true nature by way of desires. Just like how dust has fallen on a mirror, they are just not able to, we are not able to appreciate our true nature because of those dust fallen in our mind. And then he says that yathol benavrito garbha. How an unborn is being protected, or it's being covered by the womb. That is how you are so protected inside, but your desires are covering you. That is why you are not able to get a clear idea about what is your true nature. These are all giving rise to several personalities and your expressions by way of greed, envy, anger, desires, and whatnot. Right? Ego, everything is born out of that cloudy nature, which is born out of your desires. So, if you all are following this discussion, whatever that we are having up to this point, let's say you got it, I think I'm understanding it, then what we need to do is this. I would strongly recommend that we should do this. Identify, write it down yourself. This is all for yourself, right? Write it down in your diary, personal diary. What are all the desires that we have? Right? 1, 2, 3. And ask yourself whether it is a reasonable one or unreasonable one. And also observe it. Do not try to strike it down. I'm not saying that get away from all those desires. Monitor it, right? So we can just identify how this desire is affecting me in my decision making, in my everyday life. How is it impacting? I will have a strong desire towards a few things. Based on that, I will act, talk, do things, and in order to protect that desire, right? Whether it is helping me or whether it is not helping me, such kind of analysis will help us improve our own personality, right? So then we can, if some desires are not meaningful, if some desires are hurting us, then we can do away with them, right? But that cannot be done overnight. We need to understand our own personality as to what desires we have first and how they are affecting us, and then start pruning them down. That will work. Okay, so that we will do. And then the next verse here is आवृतं ज्ञान आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च. 39 verse, and this verse states that even the most wisest people, people who are strong and having a lot of knowledge, even their knowledge is always constantly clouded by desire. Right? No one is an exception to this. Right? No one case can exception to this. Everyone has to struggle. That is what the meaning is. We are all caught by these desires, and we are all helpless by moving between one desire to other, desire to other, desire to other, and we are living our life kama rupena, in the form of desires. They are constant enemies even to the most wisest. Dushpurenanalena cha. That means just like an unquenchable fire. Fire is burning. Okay. Fire is burning, let's assume. You put anything into that, it will start eating it, and then it will start burning that one. It starts burning that one. It starts burning. It never is, it's unquenchable. By putting more things to it, it will never die down. It will keep on burning more and more and more and more. Our desire is also similar to that. Desires that we have can never be quenched by giving or feeding them. By yielding to them, we are just increasing their intensity. Every day we see it, right? We can take an example of whatever that is. If you are interested in food, if you are interested in listening to something, if you are interested in watching something like the Netflix shows or Facebook videos or anything you think about it, there is no limit. As long as we keep watching, we keep watching. There is nothing like after a week I will be done. My mind will not listen to it. No mind will ever listen to it. The more you feed, they are all like burning fire. They will keep asking for more and more and more and more. That is the nature of these indriyas. Senses are insatiable. They will never get satisfied at all, no matter what. Food, you go and eat delicious meal. The next 2 weeks I'm about to attend a wedding. The person who invited me, he said that they are going to serve 26 items in that. So be there. You'll have a delicious lunch. And let's say that we go and eat such a variety of food and then we return. Do you think that we will be happy next time? We will never ever have it? Probably for 2 3 hours we will be okay. After that, what is it for dinner? Right? We will start looking for it. What is it delicious for dinner? That is how much we can bear or hold. But otherwise, they are insatiable. We'll keep on running behind them. So that is a story that we used to say in terms of desires. We keep running behind desires. How does it relate to? The story goes like this. A man was in the forest around evening time. He thought that he can get back soon. As he was walking, he saw that it was getting darker and darker, so he decided that he would get back home. As he started walking back, he somehow lost his way, and there were these wild animals started chasing him. Now he was so worried, he started running and running and running. Finally, he saw an old witch, an old woman who was just having white hair and old, and she was just ready to embrace. She was just having an open arms, welcoming, laughing, and welcoming this man. He got scared of her and he started running away from her and also away from the animals. He started running straight and he saw and he didn't see that there is a huge ditch, but that was covered with some grass and all, so he didn't see that. He stepped on it, and when he was about to fall down into the ditch, luckily the ditch was adjacent to a tall tree where vines were just hanging down from the tree. So he caught hold of one of those vines and he was just hanging and looked down. When he looked down into that deep down into that ditch, there were two poisonous cobras, just dark black cobras waiting for him, long ones. He was totally scared. Now he looked up. Can I go up? Now two mice were trying to nibble on the vines that he was hanging on. Anytime they are going to just snap it and he is going to fall down into the ditch. Oh no, what is happening? And a lot of wasps, small insects, flies flew in from within the area and they started biting all over his face and body and whatnot. Now, all of a sudden, this man started smiling as he was trying to hold on to that vines and he was just looking up, worried. All of a sudden, he started smiling. The reason is, above his head there is a beehive and that was broken open and small drops of honey started dripping from that beehive. And so he started it started falling on his lips. So he said, wow, yummy, so delicious this honey is. That's the reason for his smile. Now that man is nowhere. That person is all of us. How people have given explanation to it. We are running in this, that person is running in that huge forest, right? That is nothing but our life. Forest is nothing but our life, where we go around, we just stroll. He was just taking a stroll. We were just living our life. All of a sudden, animals started chasing that person. Nothing but our diseases that we get once in a while, right? And we are scared of them. We don't want any diseases, right? We started running towards, and as we keep running and running, we see an old witch waiting there to embrace us. That is nothing but our old age. Old age is always waiting, looming large around the corner. So we are scared of it, and we started running towards, and we will run and run without realizing where we are running. Finally, the ditch is nothing but death. That is also for sure going to be there, and we are just hanging on the vines, right? Any moment, anyone, anything. Now these two mice, one is black and one is white mice. They are nothing but day and night. They are just nibbling the vines, in the sense like any time, days and nights will get over, right? But still, there is these two snakes that are waiting. They are nothing but the jaws of death. They are just waiting. And the wasps and other insects that are just on the face of the person and everywhere around his body is nothing but our desires that we have about all the things that we have. We put the egos, the anger, the frustrations, the likes, the dislikes, the jealousy, this, that, she's having this, he's having that, I do not have this, I wish I get that. All those things are those wasps because they are hurting us, right? End of the day, it's not that we are happy, we are hurting ourselves. Those are the wasps. And ultimately, that pleasure, the honey is that is dripping from the top is nothing but the pleasures of the life. It's little bit pleasures we get every day in life, here and there, and we think that that is the best and we are happy about it, we are hanging on to that. How a man smiles, that is how we are also happy to hang around with those simple pleasures of life, while days and nights are biting, nibbling the vines that we are hanging around. And any moment we're going to go down, and at that situation we are just interested only with those honey, and we cannot avoid about the desires. This is the life that we are living in. People who are wise will think about it, and we will do action in terms of exercising restraint. And in the next few slokas he is going to give tips in terms of how we can take charge of these desires. Where does the control lies? How can we take charge of it, and how we can lead our own life the way we wanted it to be? After all, Gita is a practical guide for life. It is not a practical, it is not for, to become a sadhu or any such thing, but to live a practical life the way that we are living now, but more efficiently. How do we manage ourselves? So he's going to give in the next 4 5 shlokas, he's going to speak about that. Let's see that next week, and also we will start on next to next week we will start off with a new chapter in Bhagavad Gita. Until then, have a good rest of the week. I'll see you all next week. Thank you.